Hello people, this is Indibil, welcome to Roguetech. We actually have something going here. This is the start of a new career. We're going for an over-explained series, just so people who are not familiar with the game can get a bit more into it. And that's why we do already see the repaired power conduits going. That's because when you start the game, the very first thing you want to do is get that second mech bay up and running. And you've got a prerequisite to get it, which is repaired power conduits, so that's what we're doing. This time we went with planet rating, which means we don't get contracts according to our lance strength in every planet, and we actually popped at Cyan, which is a 3.5 Force Skull planet, so we don't want to do that. Before we get traveling and we get to a planet where we might find contracts that suit us better, we want to modify the loadouts of the mechs we have. That's because even though you could go with stock, we have several mechs here which are not up to the task, namely the 7M, the Spider 7M. Is quite complicated to make it work. It's a spider. Spiders are always lacking. But yeah, what we do then is we take Ferro, which is an upgraded armor, which gives us minus 12% armor weight, and we take the Endo out, which is a structure upgrade that gives us minus 50% weight change, and we just strip the pulses from you, because I have an idea with these pulses, so they have to go. I would love to refit this spider and make it work, but that's going to be something we're doing later on in this save. So for the moment, this is what we do. We just strip you of weapons, which means you're not combat ready, but that still's going to work. The second mech we want to be working is the Wolvie. The Wolvie is going to be our frontliner. So there's one thing we want to do with the Wolvie, and is get the armor up to scratch. Now, with basic loadouts, you usually get I'll say it, jam jets on every mech. And yeah, although that's a thing we could use, we would be better served by having more armor here, because again, this is going to be our frontline mech and it's going to be soaking up a bit of damage. Ammo to the legs, because we don't want the ammo to blow the AC5 if we get a crit. So until you don't get a case and you're able to contain your explosions, you're much better storing your ammo on your legs and just armoring up those legs. We go with max armor because I think it's going to be decent enough, and it actually is. It sometimes doesn't work very well, but this time it worked. So we have to shave a bit of armor, but that's okay. We're going to go with a bit of back armor, just a wee smidges bit, and get the front armor to 170. We're in much better position by doing this, but this is going to take 18 days, so it's no easy refit. Still, the limited hard points on this mech just make it so we can't really play a lot with what we have here. We've got a ballistic in the arm, which is usually a big ballistic. We got a support in the right torso. We got a missile hardpoint in the left torso, and we got a laser hardpoint on the head. Later on, we might invest in giving this mech some armor and structure upgrades or a gyro, and we will be ready to do some nasty stuff here and upgrade it. But for the moment, all we want is just to get more armor so it can soak damage. That's the main purpose of this mech. It's going to be here, it's going to be soaking damage. The Jenna. We got the Jenna 70, which is a very good one. It's the 4 laser SRM4 Jenna, but we're a bit lacking on the armor side. That being said, one easy way of getting more armor around is just dropping the jumpies. That's going to be 2.5. Actually, we don't want to come here yet, but the idea is to drop. Actually, I think, yeah, I'm dropping even the SRM so that we can get this one almost to full armor. I think. Yeah, 6 hit delta is manageable. We're going to be a bit under tonnage, but again, this is something we can manage just by not shooting one of the lasers. So, yeah. The Jenner is probably going to be a flanker for us, which means its 710 movement is going to be pretty okay for us. And it's single heatsink cooling, which means we got 10 heatsinks, 9 in the core, and this -1 heatsink you see here means we need an external heatsink to actually make this work. We validate the build and get it down. Nothing too extra happening. So, the Apollo. The Apollo is a bit all over the place, but it's a very good starting mech. We don't want case here, because we're going to move the ammo bins all to the same side. If we lose this torso, we lose all the ammo. That's going to be a concern, but we're quite okay with that. We drop the lasers because the long-range LRM-15s, this is mostly going to be a support long fire. So we have a max range of 960 meters. We want something that can shoot at long range, and the short pulses and the small lasers just have a 180 range, which is nothing. So we just drop those, order these 2 days refit, and we'll come back to you in a moment after we get to the Spectre and refit it. We now have a bit better stuff. The problem with the Spectre is it brings Intech stuff. Intech stuff is good because it has more range, but it brings lower damage. So it also brings reduced heat, which is good, but the problem here is we're not going to be doing a lot of damage with this one. So a large laser, which is 5 tons, just doing 30 damage is just not something we want, really. We drop you, we drop the small, we get the pulses, actually moving you to the center and get that other pulse in, and that gives us a much better damage output just by doing this. I mean, the small intake is just 12 damage, so we've foregone 42 damage for 60 damage. Our hit efficiency is not touched in the slightest, and we're actually overcooling by a lot. We could even drop the double heatsink here, but that's not something we're going to do. You're going to be... the Spectre is our guardian carrier, so we don't want to lose this one. To that extent, let's get those 1.5 ton of armor in, so that we don't lose our mech here. Just like that. We're also going to be a bit under tonnage, but that's okay. We'll refit it further down the line. The most important thing now is get to full armor when we get to the next planet. And yeah, we're dropping a bit of damage, but that's mostly okay. So, I want the Apollo first, because I'm going to order a quite big refit. And without any further ado, so yeah, why? We only have one mech base slot available, which means our mechs are going to be repaired one by one in the order we put them. This means we want to put first the mechs we want to fix first. We're banking on getting a B-team mission when we get to the next planet. I'm going to explain it in detail, but the idea here is we get 20 days travel while we start working on our mechs, and once we get to the new planet, we will, for sure, come on, give me the find. So we went Control F, which is finding something, and we want to find travel hubs, just because it's going to be easier to jump to those places. If anything, because it's going to be easier to jump from those places to somewhere else. This doesn't work because it's a 9 skull planet. This doesn't work because it's a 5 skull planet. But we could be quite okay with a 1.5 planet. Ideally, we would want a 1 skull planet or a half skull planet. So it might be in our best interest to actually travel 3 more days and get to House Carl. House Carl has moons, but it's a tropical world, which means we will be overcooling. We will talk about biomes when we make our first drop, but this completely works. Will give us time to get more mechs online, and just by passing a day, we get our special gear. We went with the veteran option, which means we get a bushwhacker. Let's see which one. Bushwhackers are very solid starting mechs. We get a Gauntlet 10, which is mostly going to be support. Let's see if we have AMS in it. But this could be good for us. So yeah, you're the one with advanced mask that we're not going to run. Okay, so Heavy Peep and Thunderbolt. Well, we don't need to touch it now, but we're obviously swapping some things here. We bring Bolt on AMS, which is an AMS strapped to the specialist slots the mechs have. All of our other mechs are empty in this regard. But we got the double heatsink kit, we have Thunderbolts. In the very beginning, when we don't have much AMS going, this is going to be good. The Heavy Peep is not especially good, but it's okay. And yeah, I'm not even going to touch this one. This one will go as is. I would have loved to have gotten another mech, but the Thunderbolt 10, actually I think this is way too much ammo. So we go 12, 22, 24, sorry. Yeah, 36 shots of Thunderbolt. That's actually a bit too excessive. We could drop it to half and have 3 tons to actually upgrade armor, but that's something we will want to do later on. For now, we'll just keep it like this. So yeah, depending on the background you choose for your commander, you get special gear. We went with veteran, we got a bushwhacker, in this case a gauntlet. There's other starts which give you other special things, and that's okay. I mean, it's the beauty of it, but a very solid starting one is just getting bushwhacker. Bushwhackers are actually excellent, so yeah, that actually works. So we probably want to get a bit more Daka here. We're never going to be in range to use it, but still. We got Ferro and we got Endo here, so we get back into decent weight, and all we need here, as this is going to be a long range mech, is a bit of leg armor so that we don't lose our legs from the get-go. I'm actually not confident with such low armor, so we'll get it to 105. Means we have to drop one of the pulses, and if that's the case, I guess we get a bit more front armor and call it a day here. It's not like we're going to need all of it, but it's good to have it. So yeah, that's this covered, and we put the Apollo back on top. Because again, I'm counting on having one mission, one kind of mission when we get to Housecarl, and I want the Apollo ready for it while we complete the other Reapers and so on. So repair power conduits is done. The next step to get our mech bay up and running will be getting the second repair slot. It costs a lot, but it's needed. So there we go, and we just keep traveling. We got the Apollo repaired, it's combat ready, so not much needed there. And we keep repairing. The next in line is going to be the Wolvie, because we want our damage soaker up and running. Don't worry about these ones if you're just starting. This is Solaris 7 season. You're probably not going there until you have very specific mechs. So you would just pass on that. It's, if you know the law, you know what Solaris 7 is. If you don't, just don't worry about it. This is just going to be of no consequence for now. Now, we got our second mech bay up and running, but it's only working at 50%. I don't know if it's actually stated here, but when you get it up, you just get it at 50%. You actually need automation to get it to work at 100% efficiency, and we want that. So we order the next upgrade. We still have 3 days until we get to Housecarl, and I actually think I want some repairs done on the Spectre as we travel there. It's only going to be 1 day shaved of repairs, but still. Flashpoints added. Flashpoints are special missions that you get in the map. This is actually quite far, but they're quite fun to do, and they usually, well, you have to differentiate between base game flashpoints and special flashpoints. So yeah, this one has a tonnage requirement of heavy, so we can do it, and on top of that is considered to be 2 skulls, so we're definitely not doing it. But we could have gotten a flashpoint near that we might have wanted to do. We'll get into some flashpointing in this career, so that's going to be covered. So we complete the travel. Let's go see the store in case there's something we want from this planet. Bolt-on AMS would be good again. There's an advanced zone Mark II, but we actually have, well, could be good for the, I'll get to it. Could be good for the Apollo, but this one only negates no visuals up to 110, so we're going to wait for an advanced optics to pop up, or for us to find it and salvage it on the field. On top of that, there's not much else in this shop, just smell lasers, some LRMs, some vehicles, but we don't want to do that. Now, it's 7 days until we get to the financial report. We do have one mech ready, actually two, if we take into account the Bushwhacker. So without further ado, and before waiting for the 4 mechs to repair, we go to Command Center and we look if we have a B team around. We have a test drive, that's good. We might want to take this one, but we're specifically looking for a B team, which looks like it's not here. So another thing we could do is drop with just 2 mechs and a vehicle, but that's going to be a bit hairy. We still got 7 days until, let's see that there's no training mission, because sometimes it's there, but it just doesn't show. No, not here. So it's 5 days until the Wolf is ready, and 5 days until the Spectre's ready. We put the Spectre on top because we would love to have a bit of AMS of ECM, electronic countermeasures, going for us. And without further ado, we just move for 3 days. We got automation up, and I know I'm running through the first 2.5 million quite quick, but we really need our Ergo upgraded. So next up, you could go with repair and refits, or actually get a launch. It's all okay. This would all give you more mech tech, and mech tech is needed, so it wouldn't be the end of the world to actually get that. But there's one thing I love, and that's having passive experience being injected into our mech warriors. So yeah, we get training module in just 10 days, and it's going to give the pilots we're not using at the moment better experience. That reminds me, as we're here at House Call, we go see what we have, and what we have is Kraken. Again, you don't know him, but we do. He's ex-military, mech warrior, brave, and assassin, which is awesome. He's one of the best assassin pilots you can get, so without further ado, we just get Kraken and even spec him up, because we're going to be giving him a very big mech from the get-go. He's probably going to be bushwhacking for a long time, so that's covered. And we just need 2 more days. Now, we have 3 mechs ready. With that, we're able to actually drop, because we have a special contract here, which is the test drive with a single heavy air asset. This is just going to require, we're going to go, full salvage works. We're going to go like this, and we see we have a Warthog locked in. We only have slots open for 3 more mech vehicles in this first lance, and the second screen we get is actually vehicles. So we're able to get the sprint in, and we're also able to get the Gauntlet, the Apollo, and the Spectre. That gives us quite a hefty value rating, but that's mostly due to the Warthog we're bringing in. So the Gauntlet goes to Kraken. The Apollo is most likely going to be run by our commander, and the Spectre, we probably want some commander in it, so let's go over our perks. I don't think we have command experience here. Doesn't look like. Okay, so if we got no command experience, I think it's not the end of the world to actually get a Solaris Gladiator going, or we could... you're just bookish. Actually, let's get Backshot into the Spectre. Backshot is cautious, which means he's going to get one extra evasion at the expense of not getting accuracy and losing one accuracy. So that's going to be okay. Last but not least, we just need one pilot for our vehicle. Again, I think I want one of our Solaris Gladiators trained, so T-Bone, who actually has Gladiator, which is the plus 5% punch kick physical melee damage, gets in here. This does nothing for the sprint, but we want experience on him to actually get him ready for when he gets to get his punchy melee mech. That being done, we're just clicking on deploy, we drop on the mission, we know, we're a bit under tonnage on the Spectre, that's okay, and in we go. So see you at the other end of the loading screen and we talk about what's happened. So this loaded up and in we go. The beauty of the test drive missions is you get something brought to the field by your contractors. So when you're actually doing repairs, test drives and B teams can actually be used to your advantage, because on the very first months until you get your mech tech rating up, your main limiter is going to be repairs. So every once in a while getting one of those is actually very good. In this case we got VTOL. VTOLs are mainly helicopters. So we're seeing we have the main lands Darius told us is here, and doesn't look like there's much else on the map. We could be wrong. I'm not going to tile scan all of it, but actually deploying here, we'll get to advanced deployments later on. So for the moment, just deploying here is not the end of the world. We can't drop that. Is there something just right beside us? Could be. Anyway, yeah, we're seeing our contact. There's two ways this could have gone. We either deploy and we're not in contact with someone, which is when you don't see this gauge up here, and then you just move your mechs in the general direction where either Sumida or Darius told you they were going to be, or you just drop and start in combat. All the mechs and vehicles you're bringing will have an initiative roll ranging from 30 to 1, and this is how it goes. When you drop, you just have what it's called spawn protection. Spawn protection is actually good. You have, visually, you have 6 evasion and you're braced, but last time I talked to the devs, I think it was something more like 24 or 18 evasion unguarded. So you don't want to step out of guarded of spawn protection until you have something to shoot at. And as we see here, we do have the sprint, which we could move, but our Hitchens is going to be pathetic, just a 14%. With that being said, we're going to wait until that first mech here, the Phoenix, moves. We don't actually know what the other one here is. We could go looking. That looks like some kind of wolvie, and it's actually okay. So let us give them a turn. We had something on turn 22 which moved, and now the Phoenix goes. Phoenix is going to shoot at the gauntlet, but the beauty of the gauntlet is it brings AMS, so that's actually okay. Now we have something to shoot at, and we've seen there was something moving also at turn 22. We didn't see. So just like that, we're going to bring the sprint up. We're going to go for a flank shot on the Phoenix. It's not going to be extra good, but it's going to be something.
On the way.
Again, we're seeing an Icarus 2 and the Mystery Mech. Icarus 2 are actually nice, but we still are not in a position to actually go thinking about getting the mechs. We're facing lagged and whatnot. We'll talk about that later. To actually get good salvage, you sometimes want to do things a bit differently. So I don't think either the Icarus or the Wolvida are going to be able to shoot at us, and you bring ECM. So let's go further up, see what we're seeing. Nothing, and we just shoot. Now we do have quite abysmal agencies. This is mostly due probably that we just rolled poorly on our sensors, and yeah, we can see we rolled a 0. This is not helping us in our chance to hit. So with Gunnery 3, which is not that special, we get 83% hit chance, and then we have the modifiers. We actually rack up modifiers up to +9, most of them coming from the no sensors. So yeah, you want good sensor rolls, and you want improvements on your sensor slots to actually be able to shoot something and hit something. That didn't work, but that's mostly okay. I'm going to just move the sprint now, and we're going to drop the barrage, which we missed miserably, but that's the struggle of the early game. Okay, we have reinforcements here. We're going to see that later on, but there's already 5 things that have moved. Actually, even 6 and 7 now. So yeah, that's for sure us seeing more than we bargained for. So it's the 5 of us against 8 things. We want to start doing short work of what we have here. We're going with high explosive because we're going to have a better hit chance here, and we just shoot. Some damage in, not especially good, but it is what it is. Now the Apollo. The Apollo we usually are going to just move in the background. We're bringing Artemis, which means we're going to have much better hit chances than usual, as long as we have direct line of sight. And that's where we're going to profit here. We actually hit with the large laser, and we got an arm. Not the best, but something. So the sprint now. The sprint now is just going to try and get evasion and attract some fire. We bring attack barrage, which means we only get it up and running once every 4 turns. For the rest, it's just going to be... No, that was a Shadowhawk, the first one. Shadowhawk primitive, it's a 1R, so it's not going to be the most menacing. The Icarus we actually would love to get, but whatever. There's a Commando 1A, which is a primitive commando, also most likely. But whatever. So the Icarus is our most prized target here. and it actually shows it's the one with best initiative. So yeah, we're probably just going to try some shenanigans with it as long as we don't get too hard pressed. I'm going to forgo the Phoenix. Phoenix has already lost an arm, lost its missiles. It's only bringing ballistic. I think it brings a light rifle, could be wrong, but that's what there is. We have range for actually dropping the racks. And again, this might not be especially good, and it might actually be too much, but we want that Icarus out. It's dangerous. So we hope for the best. Actually, I think that was a center torso destruction, but whatever. And that was actually also primitive. Yeah, that was 51 damage. So not much done. Turn 15 is also the commando, which is going to scoot back, getting himself into the barrage, which is actually excellent for us, and he just shoots at the Warthog. Now, on test drives, your opposition is mostly going to try and hit the Warthog. And that's beautiful, because it allows you to actually not get that much damage into your mechs. We're going to bring ECM towards this side. I know we're shooting the fresh side of the Phoenix, because we're actually shooting the other side, but it's mostly okay. That was an AC5, this one shot, so it still got respectable damage. We have to be a bit cautious, but other than that, we just keep going on them, and it makes sense to actually focus mechs so that you actually get guns off the field, which is one of the first things you must learn about Roguetech. Getting guns off the field gets you a lot of things done. And here we see we actually have a back shot. It's only at 25%, but it's going to be much better hit chances than we have when shooting indirectly, because we probably just had a -2 roll, so... But we have the ammo, might as well shoot. Some are going to hit. The barrage went down, and the commando is hot and got some damage. I would love to see... Okay, seeing reinforcements now. We're seeing a Reaper, a Quicksell commando, a Hummingbird, and something else in the background we didn't know. So yeah, the sprint could go down quickly, but it actually provided valuable intel. So let's see about that Reaper. Getting in, getting some machine gun shots, but we are going to survive that. We actually get to go now, and we are already seeing we get a jet booster failure. We're going to go Phantom Mech here, because we want to get into the back of the Shadowhawk and get it off this. I don't think the bomb racks are going to be needed here. So let's go just with the medium improved and the Hyper Assault 30. It should be more than enough to destroy a Shadowhawk when shooting from behind. Well, just the torso. But we should have follow-up on that. Hummingbird actually getting a lot of damage on the sprint. We must pull out the sprint from here. But whatever. We could get in here and shoot at you. Let's see about that sensor roll. Yeah, -3. Not going to be excellent, so... Let's try for a lucky shot on the Shadowhawk. That's actually a bit better. because it's unsteady, so we're going to be able to shoot it well. We got center torso here, so there's only going to be one part of the shadow hole, but it's actually okay. You charging, which is not ideal, but you miss. Now, there's one thing mechs can do, and it's usually a quite desperate move, but you can get your mechs to actually go charging when you think you have no other option. Let's just shoot the heavy pip here. I don't want to shoot my own mech, and that's the laser gun. It was a large laser Treadnought, so nothing too exciting there. And we're probably just getting you out of the field so that we don't have to jump whenever we see that you're trying to charge us. With you gone, that's the main lance out. We just have to deal with reinforcements. And the first thing we want to do is actually get out with you. So we're going to pull back. I should have looked at our paper doll before doing so, because we're actually showing our weak side to them. But whatever. It's still 7 evasion. They're most likely not going to be able to shoot at us. Now, we could get in with the Spectre, but we have respectable evasion. That's 4 evasion is good enough. So we're going to wait, and they hopefully get closer, and we're able to shoot at them. That actually worked. The Hummingbird was not in range for its weapons, nor was the Sprint. The Reaper, sorry. There's just another thing back there, which we actually don't know what is, but for the most part, this is okay. Let's get in and see what hitchances we have. Yeah, high explosive bombs have to go. So let's see what are our hitchances. I think we're going with thermo here. Hopefully we hit and it's gone. Yeah, getting the heavy peep to hit one beetle at the very beginning, it's good enough. Oh, there's nothing else here. We destroyed one vehicle and the percentage on local government reinforcements has gone down to 33% destroyed, which means we just have 2 things left. That means we're just going to get into your side here, shooting very short range, but you're just a Reaper, so hopefully the Hyper Assault is enough to blow you up, and it is. That's just the Quick Cell commando left, and it's just a medium Rex laser commando. So nothing too intimidating. And yeah, not shooting at all with what they have left. Bringing ECM up so that we protect the Warthog, but really that's it. So, leaving you go first. You're actually coming towards our V2, which is good. We can get... all we get is obstructed line of sight. So let's go zooming. And again, high explosive and thermo have the same hitchings. I'd much rather go with high explosive because it's going to splash and probably get a bit of damage in. That isn't the case, but it could well have been. Now, he has already moved, so we're going to jet boost this and get as close as we can. Probably still not in range for the racks. Actually, yeah, the bomb racks are okay to shoot. The rack clusters, we're going to wait until next turn, but we're also shooting Chaff in case he survives. And we go like that. At least we got Chaff in, so he's blinded. Next turn he's not going to have such a good hit chance, and that's okay. We actually have a decent roll here, so we probably have a bit better hitchings. Not especially good, but still, any point of damage is good damage. We could get back in with the sprint, but we don't want to lose it, so we're just scooting back, go picking berries, sightseeing, just visiting the lake and whatnot. And this way, we're just not losing our mech, which is important. Spectre gets in. Again, we're overcooling, so we shoot everything. And the commander should be going for the Warthog next turn. So that... And even if we got shot... Actually, he went for the Gauntlet, but missed everything. So that's good. Gauntlet can't get direct line of sight, so we're just going to move and shoot. Going to have much better hit chances like that. Still 0 roll, so yeah, not ideal, but again, Thermo did something this time, and yeah, you keep sightseeing, looking at the views of the lake and whatnot. Take the booster off, and we're probably just going into your left side, so we're able to just drop you. That's okay. And yeah, we're dropping the racks as well, the bomb racks, so that we get more damage in. In that way, he's mostly unsteady, he's open in the center, and we're able to mostly come and try to crit you out. It's not like we want a quick sell mech, so destroying it, it's no biggie. And with that, we get this done. Little to no damage to our mechs, so let's see about that loot. Now, this is the mission report screen, where we see what we got from the mission. We were told we were going to have, I think it's actually 131, 140, 190k payout, but of course we got our drop cost deducted, the ammo cost of what we shot, and the heatsink and upkeep and coolant cost deducted. That's okay. We were not coming here to actually get money. We still have funds to go over the financial. We came here to see if we got something for our mechs. And in that regard, let us just see what we can get from here. So, you were actually primitive, weren't you? Yeah. Nothing too fancy we got from this one. There's machine gun pluses, but actually might not be the end of the world to actually get the Ultralight Rotary rifle. So if we got the ammo, which I think we will, yeah, that's actually a decent. It's not got the best. It hasn't got the best range, but it brings good damage. It can go up to per 6, so yeah, that's something. We got a thermal mass, small. Actually, not too keen on that, but thermal masses and exchanges are a way to reduce the heat of your weapons a bit. So yeah, that actually works. I think we haven't got anything better to take here, so there's a searchlight. There's some peel and stick armor. That might not be the end of the world. And we also got... Actually, let's not get that thermal mass and get... There's ferro, though. Do I want ferro or do I want the mace for the Wolvie? We're going to see more ferro. I actually think this is an structure upgrade. It's okay. It's going to give us 1.25 melee damage when active, plus 30 meters walk. It can be toggled. Actually, that's not what I was looking for, I think. Still can be good. So let's get it. And let's get the mace. And let's see what else we get from the mission. We still got 15 peaks. 15 random picks. So let's see what we get from this one. We got 2 hummingbird parts, Icarus, AC5, large throttle is just not good. It's a primitive large laser. Brings a bit better damage than the large laser we have, but still. We got machine guns, we got armor, which we're selling, compact lag support, quick sell. We could use that until we get better stuff. Duralast quick sell makes you immune to through armor crits, that's a good thing. It gets you more armor weight, so we'll see if we use that or not. We got lower end cores, which were coming from the VTOLs, the helicopters, so you go. Hybrid TSM, jumpies, which we're selling. We got the peel and stick, that's good. And the fire control sensors is actually very good as well. So, yeah, all in all, even though it's quick sell stuff, I would say that wasn't that bad. So, we completed our first mission, and we get this message from the devs. This career is not registered, and you cannot participate in the Roguetech experience. Visit Rogue War to find out how to register. This is already covered by the previous video, because I'm just going to now, after the mission, record how to register your career, so we can forego this one, but this is what you get after your first mission. You want to complete that first mission before going to register your career, because this is actually how the game finds out you're playing. You do your first mission and you get your special ID generated. We confirm this. I think we got no damage at all, which is quite unusual. So we're able to keep working on refits. We're going to have 4 days until we're ready to drop anyway. So getting the Wolvie is a given. Let's see, just go for 2 days before stopping. Okay, yeah, obviously we got the financial after 2 days. Financial covers everything you have, so, and it's going to be 2 more days until we're ready to drop. That being said, new month, new set of missions. That's how online works. So we go see if we have any other special early game missions, but we actually don't. So yeah, we will have to wait for those 2 days, but before going down, there's one thing we can do. The Spectre is low on armor, it's running under tonnage, and we actually got something quite funny called peel and stick armor. Peel and stick armor actually repairs your armor, so that's something we want to put in. Another thing we got is the fire control quick sell. this actually goes subs both the fire control and the sensors, but we just got basic sensors here, so that's going to be nothing. The fire control standard gives you no bonuses. Sensor basic just gives bonus to 1 to detection, so getting sensors fire control quicksil actually gives you plus 20% sensor range. So we get it there. This actually frees up a ton, so we're able to get something more in there. Might not be the end of the world. Oh, of course, we don't have these slots because you need fixed slots. Yeah, so we actually need 1 slot here before getting you. Need another slot probably. It's 8 slots and we have 6. No, that's 8. Okay, let's get you out. Let's get that jumpy in the torso. That's what we were missing. That puts us a bit overweight, but we are attacking Moon now here. So might not actually be a thing. Okay, we had to try. We could reduce our weight a bit more just by getting the compact life supports. This is dangerous, but we're never going to be overheating on this mech, so that's actually something that can be done. That actually reduced our weight even further, so it's only 0.4. It's only 3 days, so we would be passing up on 1 day. I think I want to do it. How do we do this? We're going to be backstabbing with this one, so losing rear armor makes no sense. Let's get a bit of leg armor out and a bit of center torso. Actually, no, center torso is okay. Going to lose 1 point on each side torso, and we're good like that. It's going to be 4 days, but it's going to be interesting to see how we cope with this. Now, the Wolverine. We do have the hybrid TSM, which goes into structure. It just brings no extra thing other than bringing us our carry weight up, and that's good because that means we can get the mace in and even carry it with 1 hand. Another thing we can do here is actually get the armored coal in. It just gives us a modifier of 1 to guards, brings 5 structure, and gets 1 injury resisted on the pilot of the Wolvie, and that's good because we're going to be running frontline with you. Getting the mace in this early is probably not ideal, but still, we're going to get it done. It's just 1 day, so we want to be doing that. That brings us to getting the repairs we want up front. It's still going to be 4 days until we're ready to drop, but that's okay. We get those 4 days gone, and we will be ready to drop on the next mission. But anyway, that's something for next day. We're already seeing by ordering that many upgrades, we're actually running low on funds. We already have a 512,000 financial report, and we just have 422k. We'll have to take a look on that, but in the early game, taking full salvage just allows you to keep going on your mechs and actually make them better. The mace we put into the Wolvie will allow us to do physical weapon attacks. And that's good, because it improves the damage from the mech by a lot. So base damage is 0.2 per attacker turn, which means we're doing 75 damage when used for a melee attack. And that's very good. If we hit, we'll have to get the pilot running the Wolvie. Good piloting, because actually physical attacks and melee attacks are just rolled with piloting multiplier. But other than that, getting a punchbot up and running this early is good. So yeah, that's going to be a thing from now on. It's not going to be especially good, but it's going to be something for when we're there up close and we can do it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this first chapter. Subscribe if you aren't, comment if you have any doubts. I'll try to cover every question you have on the comments this time. Well, I've always been doing that, but more so in this case. We're trying to do an over-explained campaign, so any doubt you have, please feel free to ask them, and we'll try to answer them. And just so you get notifications when a new video is done, just subscribe if you aren't. See you next time.